On the surface, Naomi Judd seemed the picture of perfection, a glamorous beauty living her dream life as a celebrated musician touring the country with her daughter Winona. But on the inside, there was pain and the persistent haunting of a difficult past.
Larry Strickland, the husband of country music legend Naomi Judd, has finally spoken out in a newly released documentary, confirming a shocking truth that reveals a fractured marriage, a conflicted mother, and a star who concealed deep psychological pain until her final moments. The story unfolds with depth, darkness, and profound regret. Larry recalls how Naomi would often stop to speak with complete strangers for long periods, seemingly craving connection. Naomi and Larry met in 1979 at a Nashville music event. At the time, Naomi was a nurse and a single mother raising her two daughters, Winona and Ashley. Larry was a gospel singer touring with J.D. Sumner and the Stamps Quartet and had even performed alongside Elvis Presley. Their romantic connection blossomed quickly, and they married on May 6, 1989, at Christ Church. It was only months before the Judds, Naomi and her daughter Winona, retired from touring due to Naomi's hepatitis C diagnosis. Though their love was passionate, Larry admits it was filled with cracks. Naomi was at the peak of her fame, an icon in country music, but behind the scenes, the demands of celebrity life, relentless media pressure, and management expectations led to mood swings and deep emotional instability. Larry once said, "I was swept up by her passion, but I quickly realized Naomi carried deep wounds from her past." While he continued to tour with gospel groups, Naomi transitioned into television, writing, and activism. Despite new professional opportunities, their family life grew increasingly strained. In her journal, Naomi confessed she never felt good enough to keep Larry around and feared abandonment. Larry later recalled a moment in the documentary The Judd Family, Truth Be Told when he returned from a month-long tour to find their room destroyed, wedding photos torn apart. Naomi was engulfed by suspicion and feelings of isolation. Her childhood in poverty-stricken Ashland, Kentucky, and a mother suffering from mental illness left scars that shaped her adulthood. Following her divorce from Michael Simonella, she worked night shifts to raise her daughters. According to Ashley, they lived in survival mode with little emotional connection. The Judds' rise in the 1980s brought success but also widened the cracks in their private lives. Winona admitted that although they sang together, traveled, and dined side by side, they never truly understood each other. Ashley wrote in her memoir All That Is Bitter and Sweet that she often felt abandoned by both her mother's fame and her romantic pursuits. Larry confessed he underestimated Naomi's emotional fragility, thinking that love alone could sustain them. But he was wrong. Their relationship, he said, was like fire meeting wind, intensely passionate but capable of destruction. In a harrowing revelation in the documentary, Larry confirmed that Naomi once fired a gun at him after learning of his infidelity. "It really happened," he said, offering no further detail. The incident occurred in the late 1980s when Naomi was undergoing hepatitis treatment and Larry was away frequently. After a mysterious woman called Naomi, claiming to be Larry's soulmate, Naomi confronted her despair not with words, but with a weapon. When Larry returned home, he found their wedding photo destroyed, his belongings scattered on the lawn, and Naomi pointing a gun at him. This event, portrayed in the 1995 TV film Naomi and Winona, Love Can Build a Bridge was long assumed to be fictional, until Larry's recent confirmation. Naomi, he said, did not intend to kill him, but to express the unbearable pain of betrayal. He never called the police and instead left for a few weeks. Naomi later sent an apology, and they made a silent agreement to preserve love, career, and family. Winona, in an unaired interview clip, revealed she saw the aftermath but was told never to speak of it. "My mother always told me women need to be strong, but strength doesn't come from a gun," she said. Ashley never issued a formal statement following the documentary but had previously written about major clashes between her mother and stepfather. In one journal entry, Naomi wrote, "I don't know why I did it. Larry was the last person I had left. Then he left me too." Media outlets like People Fox News and ET Online reported extensively on the documentary. In People magazine Larry explained, "I forgave Naomi not because I'm noble, but because I know that when someone gets to that point, they're no longer themselves. Music producer Brent Mayer confirmed the incident had been internally discussed but was scrubbed from all records due to Naomi's insistence on privacy. Naomi's inner world had been collapsing for years. Despite maintaining a radiant public image, she battled deep psychological illness. After stepping away from the stage, she was diagnosed with severe depression, anxiety, PTSD, and sleep disorders. From 2011 to 2013, Larry said, she was almost entirely isolated, speaking only to doctors or close family, often confused and emotionally distant. She'd sleep all day, stare out the window at night, he shared. Even as Larry continued to tour, he would return home to find her condition worsening. Naomi underwent treatment at several psychiatric hospitals, including McLean Hospital in Massachusetts. She even received electroconvulsive therapy, ECT, which she described as a brain reset, though her emotions, she said, never followed. Despite intensive treatment and medication, her condition never saw lasting improvement. In her final years, Naomi relied on heavy antidepressants and weekly therapy sessions. Larry described this period as both mentally and physically draining. She was preparing to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame on May 1, 2022, alongside legends like Johnny Cash and Dolly Parton. However, just a day earlier, on April 30, Naomi Judd was found dead in her Tennessee home by her daughter Ashley. She had returned from an unexplained solo trip to Austria only days before. Larry, who had been performing in Florida, recalled her last words to him, "I'm back, but I'm exhausted." The coroner's report confirmed she had died by suicide, using a registered handgun. According to Ashley, their final conversation had been filled with words of love, but her mother's eyes, she said, were completely empty. Despite the tragedy, the family chose to proceed with the Hall of Fame ceremony the next day. Winona stood on stage holding a photo of Naomi and said, "I don't know how I'll keep going without my mom, but I know she fought longer than anyone I've ever met." Larry made no speech. He simply sat in the front row, head bowed before his wife's portrait. Experts have since called Naomi's experience a textbook case of high-functioning depression able to perform, smile, and inspire millions, even as she silently battled an illness that eventually consumed her. While experiencing complete internal collapse, Naomi Judd remained a beloved star, a symbol of strength and resilience, and at the same time, a victim of a society that still struggles to fully understand mental illness. Naomi passed away at what should have been the pinnacle of her 4-decade-long career, leaving behind a vast void in the hearts of her fans. Not long after her memorial, details from her will begin to surface, sparking waves of public controversy. Naomi's estate, estimated at around $25 million, was left entirely to her husband, Larry Strickland, in a will signed in 2017 and made public in 2023. Notably absent were any mentions of her daughters, Winona and Ashley Judd, a revelation that immediately triggered strong reactions from the media, especially since Naomi had long been portrayed as a devoted mother. Winona, who had performed alongside Naomi on stage for over 30 years, appeared stunned. In an interview with Entertainment Tonight, she said, "I don't understand why, but I know my mother never did anything without a reason." A few weeks later, Winona publicly confirmed she would not contest the will and fully supported her mother's decision to leave the estate to Larry. While this statement helped to temper the public's reaction, it did not erase the growing suspicions about Naomi's relationship with her daughters in her final years. The documentary The Judd Family, Truth Be Told offered deeper insight, revealing several audio recordings and voicemails between Naomi and Winona that exposed a strained mother-daughter relationship. In one message from March 2021, Naomi said, "You make me feel guilty for my own success. I'm tired of asking you to forgive me for things I didn't mean to do." Another message, sent just 3 weeks before her death, reflected deep emotional conflict. "You want me present, but when I come close, you push me away." Ashley Judd, Naomi's younger daughter, did not directly address the will. However, in an article for The Atlantic, she wrote that families don't always function under the rules of justice. In her earlier memoir, All That Is Bitter and Sweet, Ashley had spoken candidly about feeling abandoned in her childhood, when Naomi's music career and her partnership with Winona took center stage. "I was raised by my grandparents, living in the shadow of two women constantly on tour, she wrote. These revelations stirred public debate. Was Naomi truly the nurturing mother portrayed in the public eye, or was that image a carefully curated part of the Judds' media strategy? Journalists covering country music noted that Naomi maintained tight control over the family's public image, even going so far as to request that certain interview clips of Winona be cut if they didn't align with the idealized mother-daughter narrative. Another layer of complexity emerged when it was revealed that the will had been signed in 2017, shortly after Naomi had completed an intensive psychological treatment. Legal experts questioned whether she was fully lucid at the time of signing, although no formal challenges were made by the family. Larry Strickland, however, firmly defended Naomi's state of mind. In an interview with People magazine, he said Naomi was clear-minded, resolute, and entirely intentional. He recalled her telling him, "If anything happens, I trust that you are the only one calm enough to take care of everything." Beyond the legal questions, Naomi's death also altered the emotional landscape between Winona and Ashley. For years, the sisters had maintained a noticeable distance, rooted partly in personality differences and partly in long-standing family tensions. But after the funeral, they began appearing together more frequently, especially at events honoring their mother. Larry remarked, "Perhaps the only thing Naomi's death gave us was making them become sisters again in the truest emotional sense." In the documentary, rarely seen footage revealed that Naomi had handwritten letters addressed to both daughters but never sent them. The letters, found in a private drawer beside her bed, were heartbreakingly brief. One read, "I don't know how to apologize in a way that's enough. I hope someday you will understand that I loved you both in my own way." To the public, the will's contents became a flashpoint because it shattered the long-held image of the Judds as a warm, close-knit family of artists. But for those inside the family, it merely exposed the tip of a much deeper emotional iceberg, wounds that had remained unspoken, unacknowledged, and ultimately buried with Naomi herself. In the end, it was Larry Strickland, the man who had once loved, lost, and now remained behind, who delivered a final warning about the cost of silence in lives that may appear perfect from the outside. In April 2025, Larry appeared on Today with Hoda and Jenna, marking his first live television appearance since Naomi's passing. Repeating several times that he wished he had spent more time listening and being present during Naomi's most vulnerable moments, Larry not only closed a chapter of media coverage but opened a larger conversation around mental health in the artistic community. Following the broadcast, Larry was invited to speak at several community forums organized by the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, becoming a representative voice for families dealing with the impact of depression. "I used to believe love was enough," Larry said. "But love does not replace understanding. And it does not lessen the illness." At the same time, Winona launched the Back from Silence tour, a tribute to her mother and a powerful platform to raise awareness about depression. During her performances, she often paused mid-show to share heartfelt reflections, occasionally choking up while speaking about Naomi. Meanwhile, Ashley, who had typically avoided media appearances, began participating in public forums and contributing essays to Time magazine, writing about emotional trauma and the importance of recognizing early warning signs within families. Naomi Judd's passing became more than just a moment of private grief, it became a national conversation. The documentary The Judd Family, truth be told, didn't merely feature behind-the-scenes footage or Naomi's final voicemails. It served as an honest and raw account of the danger of silence. It raised serious questions about whether the entertainment industry's culture of image preservation, the need to appear flawless, was leaving public figures more vulnerable to collapse. For Larry, the answer was painfully clear: we don't need perfect icons. We need human beings who are allowed to be fragile. Many major country music stars, including Trisha Yearwood, Keith Urban, and Reba McEntire, publicly supported the advocacy efforts of Larry, Winona, and Ashley. All three appeared at Naomi's 2024 tribute concert, where they shared a unified message: psychological pain cannot remain forever hidden beneath the spotlight. Naomi Judd's story did not end in scandal, it ended with a powerful and sobering lesson about the unintended neglect that can exist even in the closest relationships. And Larry Strickland, the man who once stood beside her in love and now carries her legacy, has become a living witness to that truth. This was not only the journey of a gifted artist facing her own darkness, it was a wake-up call for all of us about the cost of silence. If you've ever noticed someone change without understanding why, don't wait for them to speak. Listen even when they say nothing.